In the history of NAU, we've kind of always performed when it comes to big moments. Kind of always performed and executed when it's come to big meets, and that's something that we pride ourselves on, and that's something that we don't plan on changing.
What happens in September and October doesn't make any difference if you can execute in November, and that's what it all comes down to.
At the national championships, just like any other meet, trying to have a very contained range of outcomes in terms of our execution. And if we do that, if we're somewhere between solid and great, all 7 are men, women, we're going to be tough to deal with.
Some of the people we compete against, the pressures and expectation, all these eyes on them, they're experiencing that for the first time, or they haven't done that in 10 or 12 years. It's all our athletes know, it's all our coaching staff knows at NAU.
We've had this heavy expectation of us all the time, to have that kind of weight off our shoulders almost from all the noise around us, and putting that on our opposition, our opponents. I mean, I relish that. That's awesome.
These championships are really hard to win. We've got great competition. NAU's just not going to win these day in and day out, and we have to make sure that we come ready.
Nationals, there's no other race like it at all. It's insane, it's chaotic, it's terrifying actually. There's a reason that things get harder as the competition levels up for sure, and so there's a lot of nerves and just different emotions that come up with that.
We talk about it all year long. We talk about it, every single day in our program. Putting their focus on what they're going to do, not what's going to happen, right? So the part they have control over is how they respond to situations, and they let the outcomes be outcomes.
It's really just how you manage yourself, manage your emotions. I mean, the work's all done, and if you're trained up here with this team by Coach Smith, when you toe that line at nationals, you're one of the most prepared guys, if not the most prepared group of guys out there.
Just trust your fitness, right? Like, trust your fitness, because you're not going to be put on that line unless you're ready to go.
I feel like our team does a really good job of balancing looseness and like the tension of the environment. Our coach describes it as like a pulley, like there's a loose side and then a tense side. Some teams in the NCAA are walking around like with one side all the way pulled down or the other all the way pulled down. It can create an environment that isn't the most advantageous for competition. And so I feel like our team, with that kind of pulley, I feel like we do a good job of creating an environment around competition that's really purposeful.
It's how can you create and foster that energy between how many of those guys are racing and how well you can manage that to best maximize getting in the feeling of, okay, this task is quite daunting, but we're prepared for it.
You've done this before. You've been in this position before. It's just that it's a slightly different place. It's a different environment, and it's a different way of having to think, like, something that you want. If you can actually put it into its correct frame and look at it like that, then you'll do just fine.
Just keeping that mindset the same of not needing it to be a certain way, not needing to prove anything, just focusing on each other and focusing on team.
When you get out there, it's going to be hard. That's when you find out, who you are as a racer, who you are as a person, and that's what we pride ourselves at NAU on, is performing even under daunting conditions like that.
Every guy counts. Everything that every guy does counts. You can't expect other people to do the work. You have to be ready to do the work. If it was about you, then when I found myself in 7th position with 8K to go, I wouldn't have been the 5th man, and chances are we wouldn't have done as well. So it's all about that team mentality and making sure that you stay on it, because guys are counting on you even if it doesn't look like it.
to be there with your friends, with your brothers, really, guys who you've seen go in there day to day, day in, day out, work hard, push themselves to their limits, make sacrifices, you know, in the highest, see them in the highest highs and the lowest lows, and them to you. And to be there with all of those guys you love unconditionally, they're like your family, and to accomplish a feat that is just so incredibly tall and that you've cared so much about, and you lift the trophy, it's pure ecstasy.
Like, man, like, we really did this, but also it's like, you know, it was just another race, and it's so exciting to just know that you can just execute on a stage that you turn into something that's so massive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, first of all, we have a lot of gratitude, you know, just to get to those big starting lines and being a chance to have something that's really important to us. It's hard for a young person to, you know, face their fears with all these eyes on them and execute in these big singular moments.
The big thing is for them to know that, you know, the way that they raced or the outcome of the race isn't going to change the way that we feel about them. We care about them as people before we'll ever care about what they can produce on the track or the cross-country course.
We tell them how much we appreciate them and how proud of them that we are before we even, you know, need to look at the results. That's the feeling, no matter what. It's not like we're just proud of them if we win. We're proud of them just for, you know, putting those big efforts out there no matter what.